That's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you picked that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
That's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Halo Expanded Universe. I need a weapon. And let's talk about some things before you play the game of Halo CE. So, Conversations from the Universe again. We have Black Box from Sacred Promise. Just something you can read there, don't have too much to mention there. 343 Goatee Spark has something to say around this time. And then we jump to Halo Evolutions again, the novel, which is a collection of short stories, with Dirt by Tobias Buckle. This story is about a dying man recounting his tale with the ODSTs as he explains to a rookie his experience. Now, when you say rookie, you think some new guy in the job. Well, you are correct, but also I mean specifically rookie, as in the person you play as in Halo 3 ODST. It is the rookie, your player character, who listens to what this dying ODST has to say. And it tells this wonderful story of this man who started out on Harvest, because a lot of people do. And there's a soldier bar, because they choose to enlist in the local militia of Harvest. And there's an explosion in this bar that they go to, caused by an insurrectionist, which makes them decide, this man and his friend Felicia, to join the ODSTs. And so they do. We also have these great little things in here, this motif, I suppose, of the main character doesn't really care about Harvest, doesn't have the best relationship with his family, his father. But he's like, look, this planet, it's just dirt. It's just another ball. Okay, but I want to matter. I want to go out into space and do things and be important and help people and da-da-da-da-da. This is just dirt. And as they've been training for years in the ODSTs, Contact Harvest happens. Harvest is glassed. So we get to see that. Or not see it, but we get to see the reactions to it. And later on, we get to see the reactions to it being taken back during the events of Halo Wars. But by the end of the story, because it's a short story, I don't want to spoil too much for you, but there's this sort of standoff between the ODSTs because some shady things are going on. Now, despite the main character's, flaws, there are innocent civilians who could be saved, but that's not their objective. But he sees it as morally correct, and this puts him in opposition with all the other ODSTs. And it's this huge standoff. And ultimately it leads him to where he's at the beginning of the story. Dying and bleeding out. Telling his story to the rookie. And then the rookie's the one to get all those civilians out. So again, it's a short story. Out of all the short stories in Halo Evolution, this is one of the ones you need to read. It is so engaging and good. So, I'll leave it there. But it was a phenomenal story, and I highly recommend it. And then we have Halo The Flood by William C Dietz, which is basically just the video game. We're at the video game now. Halo CE, Combat Evolved. The parts with Master Chief are boring. The other parts are good. Again, paraphrasing from that Polygon video from a few years ago. Yeah, I mean, Master Chief parts are boring. Why would I read about it when I can play it myself? And the other sections, yeah, they're a little bit interesting because they flesh out people that, like Sam and Marcus. Those two guys who are, there's a guy on the computer and there's a guy talking to you as Master Chief comes out of the cryopad. And they're like, getting you adjusted to the controls and everything, telling you look right, look left, showing you your energy shield thing, right? and then the guy upstairs gets shot by an elite, and you run with the other guy, and then he gets blown up, and you begin your adventure, right? There are no names in the game. But here, I have their name. They're Sam and Marcus. And we get to see, I forget which one it was, but one of them was like holding onto a picture of their wife and kid or whatever, as an elite shows up, sees him like barely alive, trying to pick up the picture, and he gets shot in the head. You know, just like little things like that. It's now fleshed out those two characters. So I'm like, oh, I feel slightly bad now. I mean, I felt slightly bad before, but now, like, I know your name. So it's a little bit more personal when I see you blow up, you know? So, we also get a lot of the Covenant perspective in here. We don't, because he didn't exist yet when this book was written, we don't get any perspectives from Thal Vadami, who would become the Arbiter in Halo 2, which is a real shame because he's the one in charge of this entire fleet in Halo 2. He was the sole reason behind the victory at Halo Reach, and he followed them, and he is the one that's orchestrating everything on the you know, sending down all of his soldiers and everything. But we don't get any perspective from him, which is a little disappointing. We do get this kind of pointless subplot with this elite and this grunt, which is fine. It's entertaining, but like he has this goal to kill the Master Chief, obviously. But of course, you never see him in the game, so he always like misses his opportunity to do so. So ultimately, like, if it's not going to be, if you're going to have the goal of it being so connected to the main thing, which is Master Chief, but then not actually have any payoff to that setup, then why even do it in the first place? Like, at least there's other side plots which have nothing to do with Master Chief, so it gives you another perspective onto the whole conflict on the ring from different people's POVs. But that one's like particularly connected to Chief, so like I just didn't see the point in it. I found it rather stupid. We also get some ODST perspectives. In fact, I'm not going to talk about the game very much because there's nothing really much to say. But next time you're in a arcade that happened to purchase this game, Halo Fireteam Raven is, you know, a shooter that you would play in the arcade, and it gives a perspective. It has a whole little. It's got a bunch of cutscenes. It's add up to about 3 minutes, so not very long, but it's for an arcade, you know. But yeah, it's from the perspective of the ODSTs and the missions they went on the ring. So you even got flood levels near the end if you get that far in at the arcade, if you really grind it out. And so that is a visualization of what's in the novel. So that's pretty cool. But you can watch the cutscenes on YouTube. It's fine. There's people that would, you know, so. Early on, Keyes gets onto a ship, or a escape pod, and there's a little shimmer in the escape pod, and he asks the private for a gun real quick, and the private's like, what? He's like, I just want to see it real quick, and then he like points it point blank at the elite and shoots him, because he saw the little shimmer, so he realized that there was a cloaked person on the inside, which is just a pretty cool moment. One big contradiction here, which it's just a contradiction. One of the Marines knows about the Spartan program, which is supposed to be like one of the most secretive programs ever, and only became like a public knowledge thing by the end of Halo 3, you know, in those intervening years between Halo 4, because they wanted a scapegoat for their crimes, so they put it all on Halsey, even though it's not entirely her fault. But no one's supposed to know about this right now, so it's just a blatant contradiction that this Marine knows about the Spartan 2 program, so. But, you know, William C Dietz and the Mass Effect universe, so. Flood sections are cool. We get to see Jenkins, who is also in Contact Harvest, gets one of the worst fates ever, because he gets like a really old flood spore to jump on top of him, or flood form, infection form, and it like connects to him, but not fully, so like he's still fully aware of everything, which is terrifying. Then we get, if you have the Halo Anniversary version, then there's a particular term you can find called Keys, which is literally just a visualization of what's in this book, which is the same thing of Keys saying his name and service number over and over to try to retain his memory as he's fighting off the flood, trying to gain information of Earth in his mind. McKay is also like this ODST who's really greedy and stuff, and he's kind of like the antagonist outside of the Covenant and the Flood. But it all ends with basically everybody you read about in the story, outside of Sergeant Johnson and Master Chief and Cortana, dying. So, but it does make it a bit more sad when you play the game, because like near the end of the game, when you're trying to make it to the ship to escape the ring, you have the one part where the ship's flying in to try to come rescue you, but it gets shot down. And that was already a little sad, but now, after having read the novel, it's a little bit even more sad, you know, knowing that lady's story and everything. So things like that. It adds a little bit, but again, I don't feel like it adds enough to really justify like reading this over playing the game. Like if you have the option or the ability to play the game, then just play the game. This doesn't add enough. This isn't like a Matthew Stover Revenge of the Sith novelization where it's like a secondary literary thing to the movie where it actually adds like so much to it. It's just like it adds a couple things that makes it a little bit more interesting, but like really you just need the game. But that's it. That's the short story. That's some additional things, and The Flood by William C Dietz. Thank you all so much for watching. See you next time. And when we finally, well, it won't be for a while, but as we finish the fight. Till next time.